Hello everyone, welcome to Salesforce Atlas. My name is Dorisa. If you're new to the channel, I really hope that you're doing great. In today's episode, I would like to talk to you about Salesforce Integration User License. It's a new license in Salesforce that came out just a few weeks ago. The purpose of the license is to create a dedicated integration user so you could connect your third-party apps and make sure that the object permissions and the data that is flowing through from Salesforce to these other apps is under more control. And so far, before this new release, everyone had to use a full Salesforce license, which is quite costly. However, this new Salesforce integration user license is around $100 per year, which is way more cost-effective and cheaper than just running a full Salesforce user license. It also depends on the Salesforce edition that you're in. Maybe you already have 5 free licenses. It will depend on your edition, and you can find out if you have any free Salesforce integration user licenses. And if it's not enough for you, you can always get more, and it will be still more manageable to pay for these additional licenses. If you're wondering what is an integration user, this is a user account in Salesforce that is specifically created and used for integrating Salesforce with other systems or applications. Integration users are typically assigned to integration tools or middleware that are responsible for moving data between Salesforce and other systems. They're typically designed to automate data transfer and synchronization. Now, as always, I'll be sharing on my Salesforce Trailhead playgrounds, and you can see that I'm already in setup. If you go in Quick Find to company information, then you will find a page with all your user licenses in your environment. Now, this is just a sandbox environment, and I already can see at the very top Salesforce integration. Remember, this is a very new Salesforce license type, and I have one license in this developer edition, and I haven't used any. And I know that, let's say for my company, we have 5 free licenses because it is coming with the enterprise edition. Now it will depend on your edition, how many licenses you're getting, if you're getting any free licenses. And I can use this license to assign to one new user. And now if I go into all users and create a new integration user, or maybe you have an existing one, now I'm going to create a new user with this button, and you can see here we have user licenses. It is by default on chatter free. And now if I expand it, I will see I have Salesforce integration. And by default, your profile for this user will change to Salesforce API only system integrations. And if you click on it, there are no other values in the drop-down. So this is the default one. This user license is specifically created for API users. You can't use any user interface. I've changed the name to first name integration, last name user 2, and it has pre-populated alias for me, and I as well populated email. It auto-generated username and nickname, and I would need to select the role as well. And the role, maybe I should have created this special role only for integration users, but for the purpose of the video, just for the example, I will use something that already exists in this environment. Now I have pre-populated first name to integration user 2. It has auto-generated alias for me. I completed email, it pre-populated username and the nickname. And I selected, just for the purpose of the video, role as a marketing team. Maybe in your environment, you have a specific role for integration users. And I set the new user license and the new profile that comes here by default. There are no other profiles. And it is already by default ticked as well as active. And I could assign flow user, or maybe not, because this integration user can't access the user interface. It can only access with the API integration, so you can't log in with this user. Yes, so here you can see, dear integration user 2, welcome to your developer edition. Your username is this, and now I need to verify this user. And once I have verified, I Should as well set up a password. However, remember, you can't log in with this user. Once you have verified your email link, then you will see that it will prompt you with this message: access restricted for API only users, meaning that you can't use this user to log in. However, it is ready to be used for any integrations that you have in your system. Now, when you have verified your email address, and you can double check that your new integration user account is ready. Now, by default, this new profile, Salesforce API only system integrations, is not providing you any access. So you will need to give additional access or create a separate permission set just for your integration users. And by doing so, I will go into back and set up into permission sets. And I will give some more access to, let's say, accounts, contacts, cases. Now, I want to show you that if I'm using a standard permission set, such as CRM user, I can't really assign this permission set to my new user. So it's saying we have failure here. Integration user 2 can't be assigned the CRM user permission set license because integration user's license doesn't support it. I expected this to happen. And now if I just select done, and go back to these permission sets, and again, if I open CRM user and I check the requirements, you need to hold the license of CRM user, and my new integration user has a different license. As we now know, it has a Salesforce integration user license. Now for me to, let's check maybe some other permissions. It is possible that you have specifically used Salesforce license for some of your permission sets. And if you're trying to assign this permission set to the new integration user, it won't work because of different licenses. Now, if I go to interviewers, let's see if we have anything here. Now, this is the example as well. A requirement for this specific permission set is to have a Salesforce license. Again, I wouldn't be able to assign this specific permission set to the new integration user because of this license requirement. Now, again, if I go into permission sets and I want to create a completely new permission set and call it integration user 2. And do I want to activate the session? Not really. And let's see. Here will be a drop down with various licenses. And we should see here Salesforce integration. Now, if I select the Salesforce integration license, there is still a possibility that this permission set will not work on my new user. And I could just quickly demonstrate this. Now, let's say I want to save this. And I want to assign objects, let's say accounts, or if there's anything else. Can't even see accounts here. So because of this very specific license requirement, again, I think I can't see all objects. And let's see if I can select manage assignments and assign this new user to this permission set. All right, I have successfully assigned this permission set. However, this doesn't work for me because I can't find the objects I want to use. If you see what I mean. Now, again, I will open integration user and will demonstrate you that if I want to go into object settings and assign accounts or cases, it's simply not in the list. It doesn't fulfill my requirement. So what I'm going to do, I will go again into permission sets and I will create a new permission set. And let's call it again integration user 2 and the object access. Just to demonstrate you, I'm going to keep this license field blank. So I will have none in the licenses and I will save this. And now if I go into object settings, I should see a fuller list of, here you can see standard object accounts, a fuller list of accounts and cases as well. Now, if I select accounts and give full access to accounts and fields, let's give access to all record types. We'll give read, create, edit, and maybe to some random fields and also edit. Now I'm just giving a random access just to demonstrate how you could assign access to specific objects as well with permission sets to this new integration user. Right, we have created some permission sets, but this is not enough. We will need to create as well a connected app where you can control access of your integration user, and this would be the only way to connect your API with an external system. And here you might even require some developer assistance. Now, if I go into the app manager, in App Manager, you will see two buttons here, and we want to create a new connected app. Now, this connected app will be a connector between another system and Salesforce, and specifically this integration user. At the top, you can complete all the basic information, and then you can select whether you want to enable OAuth settings. And in OAuth settings, if you check this box, you can complete callback URL. That this can be Salesforce login, and you can here provide some more access. So what this API can do for you. Connector could access analytics or access analytics, charts, resources, access connect REST API, or access headless forgot password. So there's a long list of various. I will provide full access. Now, this is just an example. You don't want to provide full access. You want to be more careful about what access you're providing. Maybe that's just only to manage user data via API or manage user data via web browser. But for the video, I will select full access. And then you will need to as well provide a certificate. For your external system to create any updates in Salesforce, you will have to create a digital signature. So you will have to tick this box and then select your digital signature. And this might get a little bit more complicated and you might need some developer's assistance. But here, if I open in another tab, Salesforce Setup, and if you type in certificates, then you will see there's a certificate and key management. And what you need for your connected app is a self-signed certificate. And once you created a self-signed certificate, you can upload it to your connector and you can label the way you want. Let's say integration user again. So it is easy to understand what kind of certificate is this. And you can also disable exportable private keys, but preferably you want to keep keys here. Otherwise, you will have some limitations if you're not using private keys. Now, if I save this, it will generate a certificate that will be unique to this specific instance or to this specific user. Now, I can also download the certificate, and then later I will want to use the certificate right here in this file. So this is my digital signature, and I can save this, and it will provide as well keys, and it will provide customer keys and a special secret token if you know that all your users can always find their secret token in their user settings. Now, this doesn't apply to the new integration user because you can't log in, meaning that you can't get your token in that way, in the standard way. You have to generate token in a slightly different way. You can only get this token via connected app. And maybe I will not be able to provide all details in this video because it can get a little bit too techy. And I personally also had an assistance from one of the developers that we have in the company with whom I had to collaborate on creating and setting this general integration user. All right, I have updated slightly the callback URL that was here given in the example to log in. Oh, actually, that's not correct. It should be HTTPS, but it's still, let me save this. So this should be HTTPS. I took this example from the helpful information box, and I will save this again, click continue. And if you're collaborating with a developer or you are a developer, then you can here, by clicking manage consumer details, you will generate two keys, consumer key and secret key, that you might use later in your code. And here at the very bottom as well, so this initial access token for dynamic client registration, what I read before, when I had to use this in my project, you can generate initial access token that can work for you as the first secret token. So you can generate this token and apply it in your code. And maybe I will as well keep in the comment section, I will keep a very useful article that helped me and the developer that I was working on the same project to set up our integration user, which is now working very successfully, creating and updating records in Salesforce. So once you have applied these secret keys in your code, you still need to provide permissions to your new user. Another important thing to make sure that your new integration user can access various standard and custom objects, you will also have to assign a permission set. You'll have to assign a permission set license right here in the edits, and then find the integration, Salesforce integration user. So it'll be somewhere at the bottom. Here, Salesforce API integration allows users access to Salesforce data and features only through the Salesforce API. So if you take the box, then it will enable delete from field history archive, enable delete from field history, access activities, access various things. And basically, it will provide various permissions. And then once you have provided this permission set license, just save it. And it will also, now that I have created the permission set without any licenses, maybe let me pull it back on. Oh. Now I have created this permission set without assigning any specific licenses. I have kept this field blank. And in the object settings, I have given access to cases. Maybe I need to double check if it's still here. It's only read access. I can also give create and edit access. And I will do the same. Maybe I will remove view all. I will do the same. And then here you can just select fields. I will do the same with the accounts object. Then we'll have cases and account. And click edit, and then give it access to some record types, and create read edits, and perhaps select some fields. This is just a quick example. And then click save. And in manage assignments, you go to manage assignments, add assignment to your user, integration user, and click next at the bottom, and now click assign. Now it has successfully assigned this permission set. Now my integration user can access accounts and it can access cases, and you can give it access to other objects as well. But it's very important to provide, if you don't provide it a permission set license, if you don't provide it Salesforce API integration permission set license, then you will not be able to assign your permission set. You might come up to an error, and then you'll have to find my video and find a solution for that. But this is how it's done. And this integration user is ready to be used. Now you would need a handy developer who can take the secret keys and tokens and apply it in their code. I don't really know how that works. I'm not a developer, but I know that once they have applied it, they can start reading information and updating data in Salesforce as well. Now, I hope that you found this video useful about this Salesforce integration user. It's a new license and it will be very hands-on if you have multiple integrations running. It is cheaper than running a standard Salesforce license, and you will have more control over your connected applications as well. Thanks a lot for getting this far in the video, and I will see you next time. Take care.